Hey folks, this is Pastor Mike, and this is
Rhianna.
Rhianna. I call her number 4, daughter of mine. Okay, one of my 4 illustrious daughters. I also have a son. But enough about me. We're here because Rhianna has something to share. Rhianna?
Yes. So we have a lament service coming up on June 20th.
Okay, what is that lament?
No, June 19th. You're supposed to interrupt and say.
Oh, that's right. You said June 20th, didn't you?
It's actually June 19th.
June 19th is when it is, which is a Saturday at 6:30, right?
6:30.
So what's a lament? What do you mean a lament service?
A lament service is basically just a time to bring brokenness just before God. I mean, it might be something that we're grieving just personally. It might be something that we're grieving if something happened in the community.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's just basically to bring those things to God in an outpouring of our sorrow.
So it's kind of like a communal expression of grief.
It is.
That is inviting God into the midst of the grief.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So that we're marking what it is that is grieving us as a people, and inviting God's presence into that to ultimately to instill hope. And so This is kind of like the Old Testament book of Lamentations.
Yes.
Okay, which Lamentations is like 5 chapters of sorrows in the aftermath of the destruction of the temple. It's still read every year in Jewish culture. Jewish culture has rhythms of lament, and so do a lot of more liturgical expressions of Christian faith have a history of this. Us, not so much. We just, we have funerals, which are kind of sad, and they're kind of a lament of sorts. But this is a little bit different. It's where we're marking something that is grievous in the culture. And what is the focus of this one in particular?
This one is just a grief over the racial brokenness that we've experienced in our country, just over our whole history. Okay,
and this, of course, is particularly come to light over the last year, which makes this pretty touchy, because we're good at politicizing our grief. We're good at ranting about our grief, or about people having grief that we don't think they should have in social media and such, and thus we just get set off. And what we're trying to lean into is a kingdom rhythm, where instead of getting set off and sounding off mostly at each other, which actually just multiplies the grief and increases the distance, to actually bring us together and give voice to our common grief, which is racial brokenness, which means wherever you stand on issues of Black Lives Matters and other kind of hot topic issues having to do with race currently, the fact is we are experiencing racial brokenness in our country, white and black, Hispanic, Asian. We've been made very much aware of this, and to read our history is to be aware of just how deeply those roots go, and we see expressions of it, and this gives us voice as a community, a diverse community, to actually come together and give voice to it. And so this would be kind of a blend, a little bit on the liturgical side, which means that there are readings and responses, but not high liturgy. We're vineyard people, okay, so we really don't know what we're doing. I mean, but so it's a blend, some liturgical type responses, but then just bringing our vineyard culture into that as well. And so this would be June 19th, Saturday, June 19th, 6:30 p.m. It'd just be maybe 45 minutes to an hour, I think. Yeah. Simple service, Auditorium 1. And we would love you to come and take a bit of time together to be before God and bring the racial pain of our culture. And there are probably some other of these that we'll eventually try to do as well. This practice of lament, which is perhaps a bit new to us. So, anything else you can think of?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So we'll be there. We'll look forward to seeing you there. The one thing I would comment on is that this is actually, it's not just a random thing. It came out of one of our life groups, which was going through the Be the Bridge curriculum, and a number of women out of that group this is kind of a missional expression of that, which is, I think, very, very cool. So we're wanting to encourage you to come down, encourage them, and experience the art of lament on June 19th with us. We'll see you then.